And you have to choose, are you going to rise above and quit putting out fires? And you have to retrain yourself. We get so used to doing that. And you have to decide, I'm going to retrain myself and actually respond differently the next time a fire comes my way. And then you got to remember, oh, yeah, I'm going to ask questions instead of give answers, right? But we have to change.
If you're a contractor with multiple CSRs, check out this Service Business Mastery podcast partner, Lace.ai. Lace uses cutting-edge AI to analyze your phone calls, uncover lost revenue opportunities, and empower your CSRs to convert more leads. You can significantly increase revenue without spending extra on marketing or hiring by using Lace.ai to boost your conversion rates. For the first time, you can gain deep insights into customer needs at scale with minimal effort. Elevate your call center to achieve industry-leading booking rates and revenue. Visit www.lace.ai to book a demo today. Now back to the show.
Today's episode is powered by Rilla Voice.
Rilla has taken those cumbersome, time-consuming ride-alongs and streamlined the entire process by leveraging AI technology to do dozens or hundreds of ride-alongs virtually every single day.
They also provide you, the owner or manager, with the top performers KPI metrics designed easily for you to coach your team into rock stars.
Schedule a demo today at www.rilla.com.
Yo, Joshua, really fast. I want to talk about online scheduling for the trades and how they should be affordable, effective, and easy to manage. Let's take a really quick second here to share a little bit about the latest group of experts that we've teamed up with, Autobot.ai. Our team of industry experts has developed a best-in-class scheduling app that seamlessly integrates with your CRM. Every booked job goes directly into your software and becomes one of our advanced marketing analytics, which is really cool. We can automatically select the marketing campaign of your choice based on how the customer came to your site.
Yeah, Tersh, those industry-leading analytics tells you everything that you're going to want to know about your lead, where they came from, what they did before scheduling, and what page they converted on, plus other things. On average, about 75% of people who start a booking with our app complete it, but we'll give you a more granular reporting that shows conversion rates based on marketing source and medium to help improve your marketing efforts.
So honestly, with no contracts, affordable monthly rates, and you really don't have anything to lose. And so it's a great program to try out. And if you use SBM, when you go to sign up for it, you'll actually save $1,500 on the setup fees. So honestly, give it a shot. Tell us what you think.
All right, well, welcome to Business Uncensored 2024. We're live with Danielle and Suzanne from the new Flat Rate team who's hosting the event here. We're in lovely Chattanooga, Tennessee. We're going to talk a little bit today kind of about some trends, what we're seeing in the industry, some of the content and stuff that we have here at the event, and why contractors really need to bear down and find a coach, consultant, guide through this uncharted territory, because we had COVID, which was a wave. Everybody grew. It was super easy. Now we're at the backside of that. We've seen some demand issues. We've seen money tighten up, which Matt Michal is one of the speakers here. He wrote a fantastic article about the state of the industry in 2024. So welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Can you give us what you're seeing as far as trends go with the industry?
Yeah, absolutely. First, thank you so much for being at Business Uncensored. Really, it's a treat having you here. We're excited to be here. But Suzanne, what are the trends?
Yeah, so the trends that we're seeing at this point in time, and I don't care if you're looking at like a $2 million company or a $22 million company, we're seeing that their sales year to date are 1 to 5% down.
Now, how about call volume? Is that directly affecting that? The reason I ask that is because in our mastermind and in other contractors that we speak with, we hear a lot that the call volume is half what it was last year, but they're still generating close to the same revenue.
Maybe up a little bit.
Yeah, maybe
that was Mandy. We
quite.
talked to Mandy from Rolls Services last week, and they said call volume was down by quite a bit, but their revenue was actually up a little bit. And of course, top line, it's such a vanity thing, right? Because top line revenue could mean, well, maybe profits down or up. We don't really know what that means, but some of that has to do with pricing, inflation.
I mean, haven't we seen homeowners spending more on repairs this year? Hey, I'm just going to spend more money on the repair right now, so some of the revenue is up, running less calls, and wait to do more replacements later.
So
I've
you're
seen a lot
seeing
of that.
service work higher,
Uh-huh.
box replacements being lower.
But I'm not the first to say that. I mean,
Is that a struggle though? Because I feel like the industry for the last, I mean, we've kind of hurt ourselves with so many box replacements. Some of these companies that grow real fast, obviously they're pushing for box replacements, which mean there's no repair work, there's no service work. And when they do get service work, because they don't focus on it as such a minor part of their business, they don't actually want to, they're not actually profitable. And it's just kind of like, it's just keeping them afloat, really.
killing the golden goose.
Yeah.
You're just replacing everything, and then you killed the golden goose that was providing you work after work after work. We want to repair, and then replace.
Well, and then even the pricing of the repairs, like the replacement system pricing. When I was managing our price book at Professional Services, I was constantly on the replacement pricing. The service pricing, unless something material change or something, it was not something I focused on as much.
The pricing of materials changes constantly.
Yeah.
So if you're not
More
on
so
top of it
than
from
for
your
boxes,
vendor,
yeah.
you may be in a situation to where you're actually losing money on day-to-day service stuff. If you're only updating your price book once a year, if that, there's definitely some situation, some room to grow.
Man, it hurts me to say this, but when I look at the numbers, 75% don't even update once a year.
Ooh. Oh, wow. Like not even once a year.
Not even once a year.
It's just like next time you see that capacitor should be way more than that. Let's update the price now.
Yeah, yeah. And so we definitely do want to be increasing our pricing, changing our pricing, at least quarterly, right? We would definitely recommend that. If not quarterly, then every 6 months.
What do you say?
Once a year, definitely.
What do you say to people who they're like, oh, this is such a pain to do it constantly. Like once a quarter is like, that's so much work.
Shut up and do it anyways.
You know what? Now, what I'd really like to say, I'd say let's question that. Why is it such a pain? And what can we do to automate that process? It's time for us in our industries to start questioning that a little bit more. It is a pain when you're taking pen to paper all the time. But when you actually look at the process, why is it a pain? Who's being affected by that? How could we add some automation? And that is not overnight. That is definitely over time. But or asking for help. Who can do it for you? We love to say to new flat rate members, for example, hey, let us do that for you. Let us go ahead and increase your prices for you on a regular basis so you don't have to worry about it. But if you do want to worry about it, think about, all right, these are the things I had to do today. Next time, is there somebody that can be the directly responsible person for it? Is there some sort of, I mean, there's so many tools available to automate pieces of the process, but we've got to question that and make it better.
Well, I think we got to question our distributors too. Like they should be helping make the process easy when something changes. They give these price sheets and then it's like this one, every manufacturer sends their email 5% increase, 8%. And it's like, okay, I don't know what is my price? And then how do I integrate that with my business, especially with all the CRMs that are out there?
If I'm not using the same price code that the vendor's using for a particular item, then all of a sudden it's like, all right, now I have to search this, spreadsheet to find the right actual item. And it's not like the same name as a different item. And it turns in, that's where the tedious work comes in. It's one of those things that Josh and I talk about a little bit, and that's the optimize the process before you try and automate it. And if you can't do that, then you want to delegate it. So you optimize, automate, delegate. And the optimization portion of it sometimes takes a little bit longer than what you want to spend. But if you'll take that time to do that, it's just like setting up your bill pay for your personal finances. Next time, you can either set it up so it automatically pays the bill. If you don't trust the people that send you the bill, like Georgia Power, I don't trust them. You can make it so that you have to approve it, but you set all that up. And sure, it might take 30, 45 minutes versus, scratching out a check, but it's later on, you'll save so much extra time. And that's the same exact way with the price book. That's just another pain point. So
Tom Peregrino was talking on the stage today about how to change your pay scale system. And during his talk, he's like, well, if you're even considering going to performance pay, but you don't have time to plan out how you're going to build the rollout, what it's going to look like, he's like, you can't even think about doing it. And the same with changing your prices. If you don't have the time to plan, then you've got a time problem first. Let's fix the time problem and clear up time to plan, to think through, when do I want to update my prices? What's going to happen when I roll out those prices? Who's affected? Who needs to be involved? What's the communication plan? But we get so busy putting out fires all the time, and then we think we can just and roll out new prices to our team, and then everybody's freaking out. That's terrible management. So it comes back to a time problem too. We got to make time to plan these things.
How do you do that when you're putting out fires all the time? Like that's
Suzanne, how do you do that?
Yeah. So for a pay incentive program, when I start closer to the member, what I'm going to have to do is run their pay cycle for 3 months parallel. I want to see what their old pay structure is versus what they're considering for their new structure, so that they know how that technically is going to be affected.
Hello, home service professionals. Do you want to maximize your marketing budget? Then you need to be using call tracking from CallRail. Let's say you noticed a spike in new leads this month. To find out what's driving them, you just log into your CallRail dashboard. Is my new Facebook ad outperforming my other ads? Or is paid search knocking it out of the park? Or maybe it's time to retire those newspaper ads. Since CallRail assigns a unique phone number to each of my marketing efforts, I know where my best leads come from and which efforts to scrap. CallRail shows you your most cost-effective marketing channels so you can get back to business. Go to callrail.com/SBMpod and try it for free.
So you'll actually come to the technician with, hey, look, this is what you would have made had you been on performance pay.
It's like paper trading, like paper day trading, right?
It is, but that technician then is reassured, and actually, as Tom spoke about, you're messing with it.
Oh yeah, that's their livelihood, their families.
That's how they plan everything.
So you want to be sure you're not negatively affecting the ones that are and have been loyal to you. We can have a different scale for the new ones coming in, but for those that are with you.
Doesn't that run into a legal issue with paying one person one way, paying the other person another way? Is that
discrimination?
Yes.
No, if you have it in your handbook, how you are going to be,
I just had anytime Department of Labor comes up, and I've been served by them, and it's like it felt like the FBI was knocking on my door, and I was like, thank goodness that I had ADP payroll, and every single thing was very easily checked and balances. Otherwise, man, I would have been, if I was just handwriting checks or whatever, that would have been a nightmare for sure.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to go back to because you asked Danielle about, putting out the fires. And this is something that anytime we bring it up, especially the delegation piece, that is something that Tersh and I took to a long time ago. As most people that have listened to us or talked to us know, like we have multiple VAs, executive assistants that do specific tasks for us. And there's so much monotony in emails, which I know you talk about all the time. And some of these things that at the end of the day, like the last thing you want to do is you're like, okay, and I would catch one in my inbox. And I don't know what's important. You got to go through all the spam, the crap. Oh, this is good. I got to save that for later and all these different things. And it's such a mental burden to try to remember that stuff. And then you're thinking about it during the day with all of the fires. But if you have, it does go back to the optimization where it takes some time. Like you have to train somebody, but if you're willing to invest in training somebody, there are VAs out there that can do a lot of the work and they actually enjoy and they're better at the work that we don't like.
We have those VAs. Like Carol just loves making sure that we are taken care of at
our
these
itinerary
events.
for these trips is like the hotel, the confirmation number, the flight, the this
She
time, that time.
loves it. And Josh and I were like,
we show up. Yeah,
we'll wing it. I
literally
don't know.
like booking stuff like a week before. She's
and then we're like
handling-
trying to get a rental car as we're walking up to the rental car section at the airport.
We end up getting it done, but it is definitely not the most efficient route. And honestly, we were at an event last week. The first time that we had our podcast manager, who's been absolutely fantastic, she booked all of our episodes ahead of time. They were on our calendar. We knew exactly who we were interviewing, a couple topics to talk about. It was easy. Like this, typically when we podcast all day, it's very.
We did
mental
five,
consuming.
5 recordings in one day, it's a lot. And I did a webinar with EGIA talking about AI in the trades, and basically 6 hours worth of recordings. We were tired afterwards, but it wasn't the same level of tired because we had to find the guests. We had to have
This is probably where we should give a shout out to ZipFizz. Thank you for getting us through our days.
ZipViz helps a
If
lot.
you're listening to this and you want to sponsor,
Yeah.
let us know.
Yeah, exactly. So
I mean, I've been there even when I was an employee. I always treated the companies that I was like the operation, like as my company, but I would try to do everything, no matter what it was. I was trying to take ownership of it, but it just can't. You can't scale a company. Like you introduced us to a guy with 120 trucks earlier today, and I'm sure he's not trying to do everything. He's found people to delegate that stuff to and invested the time in training them so he could get to events like this and you can go learn how to add another 30 trucks, not just fleet or whatever.
how do y'all tell people to relinquish the reins?
They have to want to. They have
How
to
does
want
that
to.
how does that
So-
even happen?
What's the hardest thing?
I think there's two things, and I really do. It sounds so basic, but when you're putting out fires every day, it's a little bit of an adrenaline rush. It's a little bit of a high, and you're a little bit of a superhero,
Yeah,
right?
that's superhero complex.
I feel like that's like the technician because I had guys that they love running on call, even though they hated it. But when they got there and the customer was like, "Oh my God, you're the greatest!
You're
thing
the
ever,"
best.
They felt this. It's like you stand up
It's
a
the
little taller. and-
dopamine hit.
Yes.
There. Yeah.
Yes. And then all of a sudden, one day in life, you're like, I am getting tired. Like, I cannot keep doing this. And you have to choose. Are you going to rise above and quit putting out fires? And you have to retrain yourself. We get so used to doing that. And you have to decide, I'm going to retrain myself and actually respond differently the next time a fire comes my way. And then you got to remember, oh, yeah, I'm going to ask questions instead of give answers. Right? But we have to change. So it doesn't just happen by itself. We have to change as people. We have to decide we don't want to do that anymore. The next thing is you got to elevate yourself and be around other people. Like, for example, right now, Josh and Tersh are sitting here talking about how they automate, how they use virtual assistants. Well, if you're so busy putting out fires, you're not listening to other people, you're not around other people, that you forget, oh, wait, there's a better way. We need other people to remind us, get out of the daggum swamp and start doing it a better way. So you got to go to these events. You got to listen to podcasts. You
Well,
got to
that's-
be
you know,
around the people.
Because we've been posting about the events and stuff that we're traveling to, and people have commented or reached out like, what do you think? What do we think you actually learn? Like, do you actually get something? Do you take away something? I said, well, it's all on you. Like, if you come and you're just gonna like hang out and drink and eat and not really, shoot the breeze and not really take anything home, yeah, you can waste time really easily. But if you're looking for like two, maybe three things, not four. It's a lot. Like you gotta come with a plan. Like, what are the problems? Find the list of, I'm looking at, there's a list of the breakouts and stuff like that. Like, find the ones that you think are going to be valuable. Sit at a table where you're going to be uncomfortable and ask questions.
Get out your comfort zone.
Ask questions. Don't just, go to the table in the corner by yourself and not introduce yourself. It's doing the things that
That's like
so simple, but it's hard.
It is.
It's hard when you're not used to it.
Josh and I were talking last night, or I think it was last night, and Thaddeus and Evan do a really good job of this. And for those who don't know, Thaddeus and Evan have a podcast. It's not as good as ours, but it's another one.
It's top 5.
They do it. They intentionally get out of their comfort zone when it's mealtime, and they go sit at a table, as separate tables from each other. They never sit at the same table, and then they have conversations like that. And so Josh and I were talking about that last night. Like, all right, for breakfast, let's just mix and mingle and meet new people. It's easy for me because I don't say it's easy. It's now becoming easy for me because I've purposely put myself in awkward situations enough to where it's like, all right, let's own it. And it's just the reason why, like, I don't have a problem wearing the things that I wear, because it's like, okay, somebody come up and says something to me, even if it's not the most flattering thing, the conversation just started, so it's a conversational piece. And like, how do you have an HVAC guy wearing a 3-piece suit? And it's like, no, it's different. If it's normal, to do the exact opposite. And that's how we start conversations. And getting out of that comfort zone when you go into events like this, networking is almost as important as the breakout rooms themselves, in my opinion, anyways. So meeting people, having relationships, just like you said, Danielle, you're meeting people that are at your level, but I challenge you to meet the people that are a level right above you. They just experienced that same thing that you're going through.
And it was recent,
And not something that somebody did 20 years ago. Like okay, so we both went through COVID together, and you did this during COVID or whatever. And now I'm trying to go through this. How did you do X, Y, and Z? And so I don't know. That's what I would challenge people to do whenever.
It helps me to have a question in mind. Like if I'm going to a new place and we're going to network and then, you get nervous, I think, what question am I going to be prepared to ask to start the conversation? And a friend of mine and business coach, Ted Miller III, he never goes anywhere without saying, hey, what's the single greatest business problem that you're here to solve? Well, I'm not really that person that can say that. But what I can say is what's going great in your business. And then but that helps me. So I just pre-plan what's going great in your business and people talk. Well, a couple weeks ago, Suzanne and I went to a one-time plumber show. We'd never been there. We didn't know anybody there. How did you, like, I felt awkward. Like, how do we interject ourselves and get to know these people, right? How did you feel?
Well, I'm kind of used to it now. So, but I understand what you're saying because it is different. We're used to having and being surrounded by people who know us, support us, like us. And there we were, surrounded by people who knew each other and supported each other. And so we were like a fish out of water.
Tersh, I want to talk about something that's a hot topic in the digital marketing space: missed calls. You were telling me the other day you have a unique way of making sure 100% of your calls are answered. What the heck are you doing?
It's actually really cool. So, we always talk about AI and automation. Well, now I don't have to worry about missed calls anymore because we use Avoca.ai, and it's an AI voice agent. And every time a phone call comes in and say one of our CSRs are busy or even after hours, we've actually completely done away with after hours call center. Avoca picks up the phone and it announces that it's an AI agent. Her name's actually Sarah, and she's really cool. And it's great because every time you get a conversation going, and that entire conversation is transcribed and gets sent to Slack, text message, or onto their dashboard. And then if some of the CRMs that you use that we're using out there, actually, you can book the call through the CRM as well. So that's a really cool thing too. So, I mean, honestly, if anybody hasn't checked this out already, www.avoca.ai.
Thank you to Company Cam for supporting today's episode.
These guys are changing the game for contractors with their smart photo app.
Keep your projects documented and streamline your team's communication with even your most complicated jobs.
Try it for free for 14 days and get 25% off of your first 2 months at companycam.com/SBM.
Feels like you're trying to break into a new circle.
It
was. It's definitely different because they, it's that guard they don't know, and then you tell them, and I feel like that. So it's fun. It's always funny, and I always like wait for reaction because people will ask us, "Oh, you get an HVAC business?" And I'm like, "No, we're in digital marketing. It gets quiet. Don't worry, I'm not going to try to sell you nothing."
Those guys.
Yeah. Like,
who invited this guy?
How did this guy get to the tail? Are we actually feeding him? But do you guys, with your coaching clients and stuff like that, before they come to the event, do you guys prep them with things? I mean, obviously, some of your coaches probably know what's wrong in their business, but is there any advice that you give to these people?
You really need to go.
You really need to go see this
breakout,
yeah,
because you really are struggling in this area.
And that's one of the key points to getting them here, right? Is to know their pain points and to know what resources we can provide to them and share those resources with them ahead of time. And you get them, excited to come and excited to bring their key in.
Is that some of the, when you guys are deciding, and I don't know what the process is because we've never thrown an event like this, but as far as putting together content that you think is
like
going to
a
resonate.
very easy thing to do.
Yeah.
We spend more time on the agenda than anything else.
Yeah.
Like,
is that based on feedback or what your coaches are? How do you guys put something like that together?
We heavily survey, and then our coaches are constantly talking to our members and contractors across the country. What's going on? Where's the pain points? What's the heartbeat right now in the industry? And so then we draft an agenda. What do they need? Okay, great. Who has something great they can say about that? Like, for example, Josh and Tersh can talk about AI. People want to know about that. Okay, cool. Let's put them on the agenda. And then we draft it and we strike through and we draft it. We spend months on the agenda. And then we get here and we're like, oh my gosh, are we actually providing the content that they need? And I freak out. And then yesterday, somebody said, I love y'all's agenda. I want to go to everything. I was like, yes, that's what we want.
Validation.
We want to provide what they need, right? And so, yes, we spend more time on the agenda planning than anything else.
There's a lot of times where I'll write Josh's name on the list and I'll strike it out just so that I could strike out Josh's name.
This is Danielle probably does that straight too. The other thing that we, really work hard on is getting the right senders here.
Yeah.
ones that, put in business like we do, hire staff like we do, and then we'll bring the value to the members that are operating here. So they get a chance to, not only do a Zoom meeting before they sign up, but to also, get to talk to the staff and, get a little bit of a relationship. And it also helps because we can pinpoint members that are here that utilize the vendors that, have showed up.
So you mentioned a question that you ask at every event that you go to or whatever. I have a question that I like to ask, and I'll ask Josh this, and we'll just do a little role play here. Hey, Josh, it's nice to meet you. You sure are bald and old looking. But so what do you call an alligator in a vest?
Tersh. I have no idea.
An investigator.
Oh my. Did you play your music?
Where's my little
crickets?
applause?
I can't
You
hear it.
can't
You're
hear
the
it.
only one that can hear it. That'll be in the recording, but we won't be able to hear it. But it's interesting because like the last, the industry when I came in was like 2013. It was pretty consistent from 2013 to 2020. It was same things, implement flat rate pricing, CRM, like do some of this stuff. And then COVID hit. And then in the post-COVID, where everybody grew a business and everybody was super successful and had record months every month, at least that's the way it was feeling. Money was, it was cheap to get money, so it was easy to buy stuff. It couldn't find trucks. But now, like last year, you started to see like a dip in the trends as far as like demand. And now this year, and that's why I referenced the Matt Michelle article. If you guys haven't checked it out, a lot of his stuff is either come true or he's been spot on. But like putting together content, like the industry is changing. I know everyone hears this, but like so fast, and the technology is coming here first instead of Silicon Valley. I mean, it's hitting from every angle. Tersh and I get a lot of requests for, especially like trying to get the word on. Who are you? What do you do? Did you graduate college yet? Like a lot of
Kids
20,
are in
21-year-old
college
kids,
still
and
proposing
they're
things.
coming with solutions for the trades. So like the word's out, like the trades are here and there's a lot of money in it. But like coming up with content and crafting that ahead of time, that's a daunting task to try to keep up with, because there's a lot of trends that we talk about this with our presentation. Like, okay, that's changed. Literally, since the presentation we did last year, there's pieces of like, we're actually going to reference that because that's not the same as it was last year.
Exactly opposite.
It's different than it was, and what we thought was going to happen didn't happen, but it changes so rapidly.
It is. If I could encourage some audience members, though, because Suzanne has been coaching with a lot of vendor partners that have a lot of 20-year-olds and younger and, up and comings. And they're so smart and they're starting all these businesses all over the place, and they're in the space and they're like moving us 50 years ahead forward. But there's still, and I mean this in the best way, such a lack of experience in some cases where we still have to have those that have been in the industry for 50 years. We have to have that. We need all of y'all to help train this younger generation, because we cannot lose. The technology does not work without that knowledge and that history. You might have a better way to say that, but you know what I mean. Like Suzanne's been spending so much time with some of these younger people, teaching them why the systems are so important, why we do the things that we do in the industry, why safety and the mechanical systems. Like they have to know that stuff. We can't lose it just because technology is coming fast in the space.
Correct. Yeah. Plus the consumers are becoming smarter. So they're also, you go to Costco. They've got air conditioners sitting right out there that you can purchase. So they see a price. So when you come in there with a price, it's not going to be the same price that you could go buy at Bats. I saw it.
Well, and educating the consumer why, it's not like it's a new phenomenon, but Amazon's dabbled in the market. I don't think they're in the market anymore, but Walmart, one of our partners, Upfrog, he does essentially social media ads to an online price tool. But it's your own leads. You're not sharing the leads or anything like that. But he pointed me out, he sent me a screenshot of Walmart's website.
It's got Goodman air conditioning units.
Yeah, so they're
they're not available,
and I think
but they're there.
And I feel like in the last year or so, I saw something where they partnered with Bryant or something like that. But these big companies are going to continue to come for the industry.
What I hear Danielle say is that there's still hope for you. You're not going to get kicked out of here just because you got old.
There's still hope for all of us. We still need us in the space.
Well, he's old. That's all I'm saying, and he's still
Tersh is older. Tersh is older. Just so everybody knows. I know you can't
just
tell.
by a day.
I know you can't tell because he was in charge of making this happen, and he really accentuated the white over here. I am younger than him, if you can see this. I may not look it, but I'm younger.
No, that looks like you.
You definitely can tell.
Well, we really appreciate you ladies coming on. This event's been great. We just got done with lunch. Lunch was fantastic, which is some of these things are always like super key for events, right? Like just the little details.
That's the most important part. Sometimes, you go to an event and it's like, do I go to this one or do I go to that one? Well, that one's got good food. So
Right now, I can't tell how many times somebody has asked me, what's for lunch? What's for breakfast? What's for dinner?
They want to know because otherwise they're like, well, Starbucks is in the hotel, so I'm going to go over there if I don't like the food.
well, we went somewhere last week or week before last, and they had vegan eggs.
Oh,
Yeah, you grabbed them without knowing they were vegan.
Scrambled vegan eggs. Explain that one to me.
Didn't it say like dairy-free eggs or something like that?
Oh, wow.
And it didn't say vegetarian or vegan. It just said dairy-free eggs. And he grabbed them. The guy in line's like, those are vegan. I'm
That's like
vegan
tofu
egg
or something. We appreciate y'all and the willingness that y'all have for us to come and just give us right here, right in the front. It's been great. I absolutely love it. It's sure it can be loud, but we love it because people walk by, they hang out, sit on the couch for a minute,
ambiance a little
and then
bit.
go about there so that wherever we distracted them from going to start.
No, you guys got a great setup.
Yeah, we
Great
appreciate it.
personalities. They
We
love to
appreciate it.
see.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Service Business Mastery. Now that you are equipped with essential business advice from this impactful conversation, you are one step closer to becoming the successful owner of your dreams. If this episode has been helpful to your business journey, don't forget to subscribe to the show, leave a rating, and share it with other owners as well. Visit ServiceBusinessMastery.com to learn more.